Hi everyone, this is Jessie. This is my second video. I made a video yesterday to talk about my frustration and just really feeling kind of helpless about what one single person can do to help bring some relief to many of the people in the migrant caravan. If you've been following my page, then you know that I've been in Mexico since last Tuesday, and I have been at the stadium in Mexico City visiting and talking with the people of the caravan. There are many children, many children. I posted a sheet with statistics of a census that was taken by a human rights organization here based in Mexico. They did a lot of legwork, and they went and they basically counted everyone and asked questions how people identified, as women, trans women, men, children, and they came up with a few numbers. So if you want to check that out, it's on my page. So yeah, the estimate is that most of the children that are in the caravan are from ages 0 to 5. Some are saying 700 children, but that number seems to fluctuate a bit. A lot of the children, like I said, are babies and toddlers, and the census that they took says there's 24 pregnant women as well. Lots of families, young people, elderly. But what my eyes saw was mostly lots and lots of families with children, men, fathers accompanying their wives and their children. I saw some abuelitos and some grandmothers too, and I am amazed at their strength. Yesterday, in my video, I was just really frustrated and upset because I just was getting frustrated about just the bureaucracy and everything that's going around with the caravan. And it is definitely a powerful entity. It is a powerful and dramatic scene to see so many brown people like me, making this treacherous journey north. And I've sat with them and I've had conversations with them. And it's one thing to see these things, these interviews or these articles on TV or in a newspaper or on social media from California, because that's where I'm from. And another is to actually sit inches away from a mother holding her baby, and the baby's crying because it has a fever. That was me in that scene the day before yesterday, I believe. And that's, I think, what provoked me to go live yesterday and to make that video, because I don't even do this. I don't go live. I don't do this kind of stuff on social media. And I'm also sick, so I apologize because it's hard to speak and I have some shallow breathing. But as gross as I feel right now and as gross as I look, the children are a lot sicker, believe me. And I didn't get vaccinated when I went to volunteer at the camp, but I know a lot of people were being asked to get vaccinated, and for some reason I guess I slipped through the cracks, so I didn't get vaccinated. But most people did. The volunteers did. So it's just a cold. It's nothing serious. But I'm making this video right now because, and I'm sorry if I'm rambling, because after I made the video yesterday, a lot of people, and it's amazing, a lot of people from California, where I'm from, St. Louis, where is also my second home, a lot of people from St. Louis and New Mexico, I have a lot of friends, and there's a big community across the country of people that I've met, people that I've worked with, people that are supporting me and that actually helped me to get here to Mexico so that I can come and just see what I can do, And when I came here, I didn't have a clear purpose, what I could do. But I knew in my heart that eventually the trip itself and and the experience itself of having conversations with the people in the migrant caravan, that purpose and that task would be shown to me somehow, you know. And I didn't know. I had very humble very humble aspirations. Basically, you know, people were sending me a lot of donations because I wanted to put together care packages for the women and the children. And I thought if I could do that, you know, and then maybe if I could recruit some people here in Mexico, friends that I have here, to help me do that and distribute that, then mission accomplished. I feel I would have felt, you know, like I did good, you know, and I would have felt like I did my part for my people, my community. But I'm ambitious, and I'm ambitious, and I'm hungry, and I just don't feel like that's enough anymore, because I have been attending the General Assemblies at for the migrant caravan every night, and every night announcements were made by the organizers, talking about, giving report backs, talking about how they were making pleads to the United Nations for buses, because the women had met, had gotten together finally, to talk about their grievances and their needs, because they were having trouble keeping pace with the rest of the caravan that are young people and healthy people. But when you have children in your arms, you know, it slows you down, and the children get sick, and, you know, the pregnant women. And so there's different needs, families, not just women, but families, you know, men who are taking care of their women and the mothers of their children. You know, they also have different needs from maybe the men who are single and are just traveling alone. So families have different needs. Children have different needs. There's also other vulnerabilities. There are trans women in the migrant caravan, and they're especially vulnerable as well. Women and young girls have been getting sexually assaulted along the route as well. So there's a lot of different communities within the caravan. And yes, the caravan people talk of the caravan as this one body, this one entity, but it is, but also within that entity, that huge body, it are different people with different needs, special needs. There's also people with disabilities. So clearly, you know, I get a lot of questions with people asking me, when's the date? When are they going to arrive to the border? And yeah, about 2 or 3 nights ago, I think it was 2 nights ago, the caravan collectively, you know, decided that Tijuana, you know, was going to be the border point destination to go, not Texas. So Tijuana, the caravan's headed to Tijuana, and I'm excited for that, of course, because I'm from California and I want to support and I want to go to the border, and I want to do what I can to make sure that our migrant community is treated humanely. So people keep asking about that date. You know, when are they getting to Tijuana? I don't know. There's no date. There's no date because it takes about 30 days to travel from where the caravan is right now. The caravan is now, they have left Mexico City, and now they're in Querétaro, and that's the state above. It's about a 4-hour drive, but people are walking. So you can imagine, we only think in terms of driving hours, but people are walking, hitchhiking sometimes, or a lot of times people tell me that they got rides with truck drivers and they just sort of hopped on the back and, you know, hitchhiked there. So from Querétaro, they're planning to head to Jalisco, Guadalajara, Jalisco. And from Guadalajara, Jalisco to Tijuana is a 26-hour drive versus what would normally be if you were to hitchhike and walk and, you know, have whatever you can get to hop on a skateboard or whatever. It would take about a month, at least a month. I'm not talking about sick children. I'm not talking about pregnant women. I'm not talking about people getting sick. I'm not talking about elderly. I'm just talking about, you know, if healthy people, a healthy, you know, 30-year-old were to, you know, just trek it from Guadalajara to Tijuana, about a month. Okay. But with buses, and this is what this post is about, with buses, which is something that the caravan itself has been asking for. The caravan, especially the women, have asked the United Nations for buses. The buses are not coming. The United Nations does not want to touch the caravan with a 10-foot pole because the politics are messy and power speaks. And clearly children and women are not their priority. So the buses are not coming in, not by the United Nations. They're not coming. But conversations are continuing and continuing and continuing and continuing. And report backs about the advocacy and the demands that are being placed, demands being submitted to the state of Mexico, demands being made to the United Nations, to the United States, etc., etc. Demands, conversations, meetings, etc. Meanwhile, the children are getting sicker. And people are sleeping on the floor, taking rides, taking chances, life-threatening chances. So, I did a little digging around, and I was trying to find out, are there other organizations that are maybe thinking about, directing their funds? There's so much aid right now. There's so much aid, and it is beautiful and it is powerful, and this is amazing. This is a very, I think, historic moment, and you can get carried away thinking about the historic moments, like, wow, this is a moment. We must seize this moment for the struggle, and fuck the borders, etc. All that's talk, you can get lost in that and then forget that that real people are kind of carrying the brunt of that, what we want to consider a movement. There are real people carrying the weight of that. People that maybe don't even know about those politics or not even thinking about them because they're thinking about, where am I going to sleep today? What am I going to eat? Is my child going to recover from this pneumonia? That's what they're thinking about. So they're not, you can't, be politicized and have politics like that when you don't have choices. You don't really have consent to make that political choice for yourself and say, yeah, I'm going to be part of this movement for the struggle, and I'm going to bust my ass for this. And the people that are doing that, I support you, and awesome. But I'm making this post because I want to talk about the children who are not in power to make that choice, don't even know about it. And the women who, are taking care of their children, their responsibility, and what they're thinking about is the welfare and the lives of their children and their families and their health. And so that's my focus. And I'm making this video because I want to talk to the people who think like this and want to help me. I want to help me get buses. Like I said, I did some research, I dug around, I contacted directly various members of the organizing face of the caravan, their unofficial organizing face of the caravan, and they are the people who are handling the logistics and accompanying the caravan. And I don't want to mention their name. So I just for various reasons, but I have been in contact with them FaceTime, like face to face, not like FaceTime, like telephone, but like real FaceTime, like, like I can smell them kind of, and they can smell me kind of FaceTime. And we've had these conversations, not about the buses, but they know me, they know my face. I've let them know that I'm here to help and I wanted to support them. And then I've also sent them communications, text messages, etc., letting them know that I want to organize a campaign effort to raise money for buses. So I got one response yesterday saying, hey, of course, but we're going. And if you can have those buses, then yeah, sure, we'll talk about it. I don't know exactly what that means. I know they're really busy and they're really overwhelmed. And I think what it means is that, a lot of people, I'm sure, are promising them things. And if they don't see it, something tangible in front of them, then, why even give me the time of day? And I totally understand that. So what I want to do is, because I know that no other organizations right now, as of today, maybe tomorrow, that would be awesome. But as of today, no other organizations from all the aid, and I know because everyone here in social media that I know is super well connected, and you all know all these organizations all over the country, and you've been mailing me information about people going down to the border and building shelters and yurts and all kinds of stuff, and that's awesome, and doctors going and being ready to treat the sick, that's awesome. All this food, all this money, all of this, it's a beautiful thing. None of it is going to transportation. None of it None of these organizations, none of these efforts are raising money to rent charter buses here in Mexico to get our people off their feet. And I think that it would be awesome if we can do that. If you can join me and the people that are working with me, if you can help us raise money and funds to do that, that would be awesome. And then maybe other people will start doing it, you know? And that's amazing, because I spoke to Pueblos Sin Fronteras. Oh, I mentioned the name. Okay. They threw a number at me. They said for the whole caravan, which is about 4,000 people, you know, give or take, it would take about 170 buses, big, you know, the big buses, like Greyhound style buses. It would take about 170 buses, a huge caravan of buses. Can you imagine that? I mean, that would be pretty amazing too, you know, and super amazing and safe, you know, much safer. But, you know, I can't promise 170 buses, of course not. But I can start with the most vulnerable people, providing buses for the most vulnerable people in the migrant caravan, the women, the children, the LGBT community, disabled, and elderly. We can start with that. We can start with 3 buses. 3 buses, 60 people per bus, that's 180 people. And I know, I'm being very conservative with 3 buses. I know if you all talk to all your friends, you're all very sophisticated, connected people. I know you are. You have people you went to school with, you have people you work with, you have people at church, you belong to organizations and clubs. I know. We can put 10 buses together in a week. I know it. But I'm going to say 3 buses right now. I need to raise enough money, and I'm asking for quotes. I'm going to say about $5,000 right now to cover deposits and all of that, red tape and stuff, insurance and whatever here. And there's already people looking into that. $5,000 right now, we need that to get it going. And like I said, we get that going, and other organizations and other communities around the United States are going to get wind of this, and they're going to join in the efforts, and they're going to start their own fundraising for caravan buses. And I think that's what we need to do, and that's what I would like to do. I was going to read this press release that's been floating around here in Mexico that was undersigned by a bunch of human rights organizations and universities, faith groups, and individuals. And basically, I was going to read, but I'm just going to talk, and then I'll post it later on the page. I had to translate it a little bit because it's all in Spanish. But basically, it's a press release statement to the state of Mexico and all of their governing bodies, basically asking for special protections for the migrant caravan, and also for the people coming here internationally to help support the caravan. It's also a kind of a call out, and when you read it, you'll see, to more people to come and help escort the caravan, to accompany the caravan on their journey north, because the more eyes, the more people can witness. The people that are traveling in the caravan, they're basically bait, and they're basically just fresh meat on the road, you know, and they don't, you know, they were in Mexico City and they passed through some urban areas, but then Mexico has a vast desert, and they're headed to some very scary territory where it's very rural and it's very desolate. And at night things change. I want you to understand that. These are women and children walking. You see the pictures and you see daylight. You don't see the night. Okay? During the night here in the stadium, in these big tents that the Mexican government provided, there was a time where they would just shut down the lights, and it was all dark. And I'm talking huge tents with, I'm going to say about 400-500 people per tent in the pitch dark. So I was at first trying to get flashlights, you know, whatever, to make it a little bit less scary for the children. And, you know, so I was trying to do that, all these Band-Aid efforts. So I want you to think about, you know, that these are people that are walking through the deserts, walking through jungle, walking through mountains, walking through valleys, in desolate places at night, sleeping at night. And how amazing it would be if we can get buses, and if we could begin getting buses to the most vulnerable in the community. This isn't an effort to separate the people of the caravan. The numbers, the unity is empowering, and it's also safety in numbers. This isn't about that. So this is about providing some relief and giving the women and the children in the caravan real choices so they can make decisions and decide when they want to leave a certain area. There was a lot of pressure. They were telling me that they were feeling pressure here in Mexico City by other forces in the caravan telling them, you know, we need to get going. We need to get going. Don't sleep so much. Don't eat so much. What are you doing? You know? And here they are, you know, trying to take care of their children. I want to be able to provide them with some space and some time and some choices. And buses give them that. They give them that. The buses give the women and the children the space and the time to decide when to move on, when to stay and stop and rest, and when to continue. That's very important. And I hope people can understand that and not think of not think that there's something else going on here. Because it's very simple. And I don't know if anybody here has ever made that trek or walked, you know, walked somewhere, made a journey, gone hiking. But this isn't hiking. This isn't hiking, okay? This is like moving with all your shit on your back, okay? With all your precious belongings, the things that were indispensable, that you couldn't leave behind in Guatemala, in Honduras, in Nicaragua, the things, you know, your more precious belongings that you know you're never going back. You're never going to see those things again. So you're carrying that stuff. Plus things, you know, diapers and food. You're carrying that on your back with your child. I want you to imagine that, okay? So I'm gonna end this soon because I think I've talked enough. But check out my page, please. I created a group. It's a working group. I can't remember the name right now, but you'll see it and I'll post it. It's a working group in solidarity with the caravan. But it's very specific. It's all about logistics and fundraising for charter buses for the women and children of the caravan. It's very specific. I know there's a lot of needs, but this is very, very specific because I don't want it to get lost with all the other things that are going on, okay? And all the other needs. Because believe me, there are other people, smarter people with way more power that are working to provide and to address those other needs that the caravan has, okay? But this is very specific and it's not being done by anybody else. And I know that seems inconceivable that no one else has thought of it, okay? And I'm not special, believe me, because I really am not. This is just a different suggestion. And it's already been requested by the caravan anyway, the population of the caravan. The women have already made the request for buses, but they're asking the United Nations. And like I said, the United Nations is not going to give them buses. They don't want to touch the caravan. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that. And good night. I was going to show you outside my window here. I'm staying with the host family, a lovely family. And I'm here in Mexico City. I got sick, so I've been grounded for a couple days. But I hope to get going soon. And follow the caravan as well. I was gonna show you what it looks like outside my window, and it's really cool. You know, Mexico City's a valley, and there's mountains everywhere, so the mountains are around us. And anyway, this is a powerful place. Take care. Bye bye.